everybody, this is Annie Collins, and thanks for tuning in to Oz Living. Now today's guest, she's easily named as the jack of all trades, as she's the founder and CEO of several companies, namely XCEL Crypto Partners, Fish Foundation Global Nation, and Healthy Girls Leadership Academy Practicum program. She is an international award-winning keynote speaker, a multifaceted entrepreneur, a peace activist, and a global humanitarian. It is, of course, a good friend and soul of mine, Roné de Beauvoir. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. How are you? Everything is good.
Everything is so great.
Yes.
And now before we jump into all the incredible work that you're doing, Ron, you have founded several different companies from various industries, and people whom have followed every step of your journey is probably left paralyzed with the many things you've achieved and accomplished whilst championing huge important causes. And so my deep curiosity for your being, Ron, wants to know, who were you early on in your career?
In my career early on, as I am today, I was a speaker, a global speaker speaking on various topics. I have lived in more than 40 countries around the world. I feel that living all over the world is what has prepared me for the work that I do today. When you live in other countries, you are exposed to nuances that are not a part of your current known nuance. You are exposed to other cuisines, to other religions, to other ways of life, but more importantly, to other ways of communicating and listening to what people have to say about their life and their way of life. So I began as a speaker. I'm still a speaker today. A speaker has the power to transform a life through the power of words. I am often told that I am like a magnet or a volcano when it comes to touching people's lives. I think that's a gift, but not all speakers have that gift, Yanni. I have that gift. I believe it's a God-given gift, and I use it to transform, touch, heal, and inspire.
Wow, that's quite a journey. I mean, I've not really met that much people who have lived in 40 different countries, which is totally mind-boggling and makes you definitely a citizen of the world. And so take me back to when you first about crypto. What exactly intrigued you about crypto? And do you have an inspiration on how you got into the space?
Yes, I have begun in the last year on stages in interviews such as this, describing how I became a victim some 25 years ago to a Ponzi scheme. I lost $700,000. Because I lost all the money that I made from speaking fees, I found myself putting all my property in storage. Well, Yanni, it got worse. It got to a place where I could no longer pay that storage fee. And ultimately, what incurred, I lost everything in storage. My passport, my driver's license, my apartment, my car, I lost everything. I was homeless 1 year and 9 months on the streets in a foreign country. I never tell people the country that I was in. For some reason in my mind, if I tell people that, somehow I'm discrediting or hurting that country. And that's never my aim. I never told anyone, even my father who was alive then, my mother who is alive now, that I was homeless with only the clothes on my back, a briefcase, and my handbag. I went through that with joy, believe it or not, as crazy as that sounds, Yanni. My father was a pastor. And for me, growing up the way I did, believing in God, I felt it was a God teachable moment. If you say you have faith, when crises come up in life, you either fight on for the good fight, or you bail out. It's what they call flight or stay. Stay or flight. But I decided I was going to stay in that situation. Nobody knew. The outfit that I wore at that time quickly was an outfit for the day, a nice black pants outfit. So as I'm walking around the streets, no one knew based on how I looked that I was homeless. No one knew that I was carrying, what do we call it? Sausage and pepperoni and bread in my purse with camembert cheese in my handbag. Nobody knew that. Just me and God. So after a while, certainly closer to the 2-year period, the end of the 1 year, 9 months, I met this woman who worked in the ministry. She befriended me. We would go and have lunch in the minister's cafeteria. And ultimately what happened, she gave me $250,000 cash. It was to help me get back on my feet. I'll never forget when she gave me the envelope, she said to me, Roné, our season, God tells me, has come to an end. You are now going to spread your wings and go back to the life that he's called you and ordained you for. This is going to help you regain your platform and rebuild your life. I have never seen or heard from her again. That was more than 25 years ago. A few years after that, 2008, another Ponzi scheme was on the rise. It was with a man who's deceased now by the name of Richard Madoff. He made off with millions. By the end of 2008, a friend came to me. I was able to get myself together, get a new ID, and I went back home to Paris. And while I was there, a friend said, Roné, have you heard about Bitcoin? No, what is Bitcoin? Is it a new dish? He goes, no, it's going to be the new way of life going forward in the future. He tried to get me to invest, but like hell would I invest. I wouldn't even give $10. I was afraid. I'd already lost $700,000 investing. My fault from the misfortune, because I didn't take the time to ask, what am I doing? What am I investing in? How is this going to reap me benefits? I never did any of that. But this friend in Paris said, you're going to regret it if you don't. Never mind, I'm going to learn about it before I do. I went to banks in Paris. I got kicked out. Nobody knew what I was talking about. Well, naturally, if you say that it's finance and coins of the future, the first step I took was to go to a bank. Banks didn't know what I was talking about. So I continued to try to find out more about Bitcoin. Then I was given the white paper. I read the white paper and I was fascinated. I was floored. And I began to wonder, how could I use that to further enhance and rebuild my life? A few months later, Ethereum came on the scene. And that, my sister, is when my life changed. Once Ethereum came on the scene, I learned and was able online to learn about Ethereum, to begin to learn about blockchain. And that's where everything changed for me. From that knowledge, I was able to make a little bit of money as I invested a little bit. I wasn't willing to take huge leaps. The only leaps I was taking was in understanding. And it's because of Bitcoin and Ethereum that my life changed.
Wow, you just hit me right through the core, Rowan, with that beautiful and inspiring story. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. And is this the reason why? Is this the catalyst for your passion to help the unbanked?
Yes, because when I was homeless like them, I was living among them. They had clothes they could change in. I did not. They didn't know I was homeless. I never said anything to anyone. I would go in hotels, 4 or 5-star hotels, and sit in a chair in the lobby to go to sleep, praying that security wouldn't think I was a prostitute and arrest me or make me leave the hotel. So a number of things and factors were happening to me at that time, Yanni. But as hard as it was to live on the streets for nearly 2 years. As I said, 1 year and 9 months. What was more challenging and more difficult was getting my IDs again. Do you understand that it was like going to hell and putting out fire to try to prove who I was, to try to prove to the embassies who I was to get a new ID? That was harder and more challenging than living on the streets for nearly 2 years. It was through that God teachable moment, Yanni, that I discovered and well understood, number one, what poverty or homelessness is completely like. I understood what it's like to be hungry and not be able to eat. I understood what it was like to need pantyhose, but not have the money to buy it. I understood so many things through that journey. And I believe that was God's intention. I'm holding back tears because today, to do what I do for the unbanked, who do you think understands better than me? There are people and companies that do what I do, but they did not go through what I went through. Nobody in their right mind will live and choose to be homeless. But you see, again, it takes a unique kind of faith in God. You know what, sister? You either believe in God or you don't. I coined the phrase while I was homeless: stop using God and let God use you. And that transformed my life.
Wow, there's so many things to unpack here. You have left me and our audience timeless wisdom to reflect on. And with that, I am so grateful. And now moving on to your company, XCEL Crypto Partners, could you take us through your journey, how you founded the company, some stumbling blocks that you've encountered, and some key updates since we last spoke?
XCEL Crypto Partners is the name of my startup. I would say the first year of my discovery of Ethereum, that's when I registered XCEL Crypto Partners. I took time to pray and meditate on the name because I wanted the name to accentuate not only my story, but the life that I was trying to enhance and change of the unbanked. And I wanted the name of my company to accentuate that. XCEL is an acronym for accelerate. My life was accelerated from the newly found knowledge and resources that I was put in my hands to change my life. Crypto, because crypto is what enhanced my life and gave me a new life. But partners, now that's going to surprise you. That part of the name comes from the unbanked. When I talk with them, they're always conveying how they want to partner with supply chains or partner with big countries, big companies in big countries. And I felt, just listening to what I was being told, what was being fueled in my heart, in my spirit, that XCEL Crypto would partner with anyone who's unbanked, no matter their religion, no matter their belief, no matter what food they eat. I don't care if they eat bats or worms. I don't care if they eat noodles or shrimp. I don't care if they're short or fat. I don't care if they're black or white. If they are a human being and a part of humanity, that is what I care about. And those are the people that we are partnering with. XCEL Crypto Partners has advanced more since you first met with me and interviewed me, from a great organization that gave me an opportunity to speak in Malta, AIBC, Sigma Gaming Organization. Very thankful for those opportunities. We now have XCEL Crypto Partners Identity Council. It is a governance that works with government heads and government leaders to empower, and what I call, Yanni, transformation of nations. Hear me good. We are now transforming nations through the power of a decentralized ecosystem and platform known as DIDS, D-I-D, decentralized identity. But through that, we've created digital personhood. I may have mentioned that when we first met. Digital personhood encompasses 6 generations of people. The first generation I call the builders. These are people my mother's age, your grandparents' age, in their 80s and 90s. They were here during World War I, some of them, World War II. I call them builders. Oh man, Yanni, because they built the system of life as we know it in a centralized system. They are the ones, Yanni, that have sacrificed so much for my generation, which is the next generation of digital personhood, known as the boomers. Some say baby boomers. Then there's your generation, better known as the millennials. Then you have another generation, better known as Gen Y. You have Gen Z. But the last of the 6, you'll never guess. It's the generation of the unbanked. So when they go to the website, they see the builders. They see the picture of the millennials. They see the picture of all the other generations, but they also see the picture of them that looks like them. And it says the generation of the unbanked. The Identity Council, XCEL Identity Council, we are training and providing services to nations and their ministers and leaders on how to transform the life, starting with what is known as self-sovereign identity. Self-sovereign identity, Yanni, is about an individual regaining, recapturing. Think about what I'm saying. Think about the words I'm using, because it's all what I did. Regain, recapture, rebuild, restore. Self-sovereign identity is about all of that. It's about self-sovereign control over your identity, over the work of your hands that you have created. Look at what you see all the time about people, famous and unfamous, releasing wonderful NFTs, and then some bloke comes along and steals it. I got great news for people who have been exposed to that or who desire to create a better life for themselves and their family through NFTs. The way to protect and make sure that the world knows those NFTs are yours is through a DID, digital identity. Do you know that you can add a link to your website, to your social media platform, whatever you have? Use your social media handle or whatever you choose, because it's self-sovereign control in your hands. And when someone tries to use, steal, or destroy your work, your NFTs, or whatever it is, your articles on Medium or whatever platform you're using, the DID, the DIDs, the digital identity, is added on to and connected to that platform, and it can be researched. And when it's researched, it comes up that you are the creator, that you are the official owner of that property, of that article, of that NFT. So these are some of the new changes and new developments of XCEL Crypto Partners, as we now have XCEL Crypto Partners Identity Council.
That is a crazy progress development that you have created under a year, Ron. And you've also mentioned last month that you are in areas where the cultural shift is pretty dramatic,
Yeah.
namely Sri Lanka, Africa, and Asia. Could you tell me about like onboarding the unbanked in those regions?
Yes, I'm headed to Sri Lanka in August. And for the purpose of the viewership and whenever they see the video, we are now in July, early July, and I will be with a small team in Sri Lanka next month, August 2022. There are several objectives. I'm there over a week, and each day is allocated for a specific objective. The first one is going to be period poverty. Period poverty, people ask all the time, what is it? It is women all over the world and girls, all women, permit me to say it like this, and I'm not trying to offend anyone. Please know that to your audience. If you were born as a woman, as a female, you are going to experience a monthly menstrual cycle. And women around the world in many countries don't know what is known as WASH. They don't know how to care for themselves. They don't have the products to use during that time of life. And it's every month that a woman goes through this. So in Sri Lanka, my first day of the boot camp, right now they tell me there's over 50,000 women registered and girls, mothers and grandmothers with their daughters. I am going to educate, empower, train, and teach them. First of all, what is it? Why did God put this on us? Why do we have the cramps? So all of these things are going to be explained. They will also be given free products to use from that day going forward. The next day in the boot camp, where thousands are registered, is the training on self-sovereign identity. They are required, and they know now everyone in attendance must bring their mobile phone. Well, as I said in our first interview, more than 50 million people are unbanked. But more than half of those, while they're unbanked, they have mobile phone and access to the internet and no ID. So when you first interviewed me, I was putting the cart before the horse. I was trying to give them crypto banking so that they'd have some place to put their money. But what good was that going to do without an ID, without a way to prove their identity? They're not even able to go to see a doctor because they can't prove who they are. So day two, yes. And it's no fault of government. I am not going to blame no government. You have developing nations and you have developed nations. I'm concerned and consumed with an insatiable appetite for the nations of the world that, with permission and collaboration with the ministers and government in charge of the nations where I'm going, I'm interested in helping them provide identities to increase not only awareness, but to increase business growth and development, to help supply chains expand, to help farmers with clean water for their crops, to help them with financial advancement. Now, look here, girl, I got a lot of people watching me like a hawk on LinkedIn and on social media. I've even had some companies fake a survey so that they could get me to participate and expose and tell them the intricate details of what I'm doing so that they can run off and copy. But your girl's not stupid. I don't fall for that. While I was homeless, I gained wisdom. I gained the gift of discernment and insight. Do I fault those people? No. But they can do what I'm doing. They can go. and be a part and break bread with them. Now, look, I can't eat silkworms today. I can't eat bats in China in my soup today. At my age, never mind, but my stomach, I can't digest it. But there are many things I can still do to show honor, Yanni, when I'm in another country. And I'm doing that by going back. I've lived in more than 40 countries. So those are the countries where I'm going back, starting with the countries where people, when I was well known as a speaker in their country, where people would invite me into their home, if you want to call it a home. It was a mud shack, who were cooking on rocks with what they had and sharing it with me, and honored that I would come to their home because everybody in their village was dancing at my coming to that one couple's home. That's the life I lived then. That's the life I'm living now. So I get wound up when I talk about it. Those countries, those people, where businesses paid me huge fees to speak. And then NGOs would take me out into the city to see where there was a need. Those countries are first. Sri Lanka is one of them. India is one of them. Where you are, the Philippines is one of them. The Philippines has the highest rate in all of Asia of unbanked. And I lived like a queen in Manila. So in December 2022, I'm back to Manila to be a thriller for my brothers and sisters who are unbanked. I mean, real talk, Yanni, real talk. And you see it like I do. Speakers on these grand stages, talking all these great things. And it's so wonderful, but they don't have a clue. I see people in panels and keynote speakers talking about the unbanked and what they're doing. They don't have a bloody clue because they're not out there breaking bread with the unbanked. They're not out there talking to them. My NFTs, quickly, I will say this. They're called Face of the Unbanked. There's over 30 of them. And each face describes the emotional ties that bind the unbanked. One face is called disgust. One face is called distrust. One face is called disgrace. My NFTs for XCEL Crypto Partners are unique. Shall I tell you why? Because when you look at the artwork, and by the way, I created all of the NFTs. When I was very young, coming out of high school, never mind how long ago that was, my father coerced me to go into art, to study art. So these NFTs I've created from my days of studying art. Each picture, each artwork has an audio that describes that disgust or that face of the unbanked. When you take your phone and put it over the picture, the artwork, my voice comes up. Each audio is under 40 seconds, and it describes in my voice, in my words, what I know, being among them, once upon a time, the face of that unbanked and that emotion that they are exposed to every day.
When are you planning to launch your NFTs?
They are launching in 2 weeks. So you can say the third week of July. I cannot give you the specific date, but if you're following me and if your audience will follow, they will see, especially on LinkedIn, the specific date of the launch and the platform. And I can tell you right now, I'm not launching on OpenSea. It is on a platform called Voice, VOICE.com. I chose that platform because my artwork fits into their vision. I'm a visionary. Anybody that listens to me can see that. Anybody that knows the work that I do can see that. Voice is a platform for visionaries. OpenSea is not. Nothing against OpenSea. Please don't, nobody misunderstand me. That's a great platform. But I need it to be, because my NFT is about the unbanked. I need it to be somewhere where the platform is a visionary and will expose the kind of work that my NFTs represent. And for me, that's Voice. So either way, whether you know the date of the launch or not, you now know the platform. And that is where you will see Faces of the Unbanked.
Wow, this is so exciting, and we cannot wait to see your work of art.
Thank you.
That you poured your heart and soul into. You deserve all the support in the world, and congratulations on the launch once again, Rome. And with that, we will make sure to link everything in the description below and maybe pop it up in this segment of the video. We'll figure it out as we edit. Now, what would you tell young women who are just getting started in the crypto space? What would be your best piece of advice to empower for them to take the leap? Where and how should they start?
First of all, do not get involved in this industry until you get an understanding. In all you're getting, in all your revelation, get an understanding. Because I didn't do that, I was ripped off of $700,000. So young ladies, my sisters, no matter what your age is, this is a powerful platform, a decentralized ecosystem, whether it's Bitcoin, Litecoin, stable coins, smart cities, whatever it is your interest happens to be in the crypto genre. First, get an understanding. Don't listen to everybody out there, because everybody out there is not honest. And there are people in this space that are just looking to make a quick buck. Make sure you're listening to credible and reputable individuals. And you'll know it when you take the time to check them out and see what's being said about them. That's how you can identify that they are, number one, legitimate. I would encourage every woman to get involved in crypto. It will change your life. It will enhance your life. And it's going to allow you to do what I do: touch, heal, and inspire.
I love it. Well, Ron, it is always such a pleasure to talk to you, and I super appreciate your time. Are there any final thoughts that you want the audience to be left with tonight?
I would say there's a lot of sadness in the world today, a lot of shootings, isn't it? There's a lot of things happening with high gas prices all over the world. There's so many things going on that's discouraging. People are struggling. People are struggling to identify, how did we get in this place? First, it was COVID. Then we went from COVID to other variants of COVID. Then we went from that to a war with Ukraine. And people are distressed. They are distraught. First of all, be yourself. Hear me good. Be yourself, because everybody else is taken. Be yourself. Everybody else is taken. Secondly, believe in God, because God believes in you. I have to tell you that. I'm a PK, preacher's kid. My daddy is long gone to another world, but what he imparted in me is still in me. And I impart that to you. I'm not telling you who to believe, how to believe. I'm not telling people or trying to sway people into Christianity, Islam. I'm just saying believe in God, because God believes in you. And then thirdly, be good to people. When you're good to people, you can be good to a person just by listening to what they have to say. Listen to people when they talk to you, because people are in pain. And when you listen, you may identify the same pain they're experiencing that you are also experiencing. But maybe you've come out of it, and there's an opportunity for you to touch, heal, and inspire, for you to help heal that person. So when you engage, when you interact with others, be good to them by listening. Be good to them by giving a hand up, not a handout. Be good to them by sharing. It is through sharing that your life will be enhanced and improved. Voila.
Ron, you did it again. You touched my soul. You made me so emotional right now, and I want to thank you for thank you again
My
for
pleasure.
giving me your precious time. It was truly an honor, and I would love to have you again. But this
Thank
time
you.
we'll have to meet in real life. Especially you're coming
Yes.
into the Philippines in December.
Yes.
I have to get you in and meet with me face to face. So thank you so much once again, Ron. I
My
appreciate it.
pleasure. Thank you, my sister.